action. Okay, so how many of you have started thinking about what to do after graduation? Have you thought about a 4-year university or a tech school? 4-year. Okay. Well, I'm going to give you a little back history here. So when I graduated, I'm coming up on 10 years ago this year, actually, I decided to go to a 4-year university. I went to Edinburgh University of Pennsylvania. I was a fighting Scot. After 2.5 years, I decided to drop out because I changed my major 7 times because I didn't know what I wanted to do. It went from special education, communication, psychology, a whole variety of things. After my 2.5 years, I ended up moving back up here, got married to her son, right? But now I realized what I wanted to do with my life. And I ended up going back to school, and now I am a full-time student at Northwest Tech with majoring in 3 different things. So I'm going to tell you why I chose to go back to a vocational school and why I think it's a better option than a 4-year university. Okay, everyone with me so far? Okay. So according to the Institute of Educational Statistics, 40% of attendees who go to a 4-year institution will not complete their degree. In the first 2 years you are at a 4-year university, your first 2 years are just general education courses. You won't take anything that pertains to your major. So that means you have to take 2 different Englishes, 2 different maths, 2 different sciences or biologies or anything along those lines. For 2 years, that's all you do. After your 2 years, then you'll be able to start taking classes that pertain to your major. So the 60% who end up staying in school, they end up losing out on over $71,000 on income that they could be making, as well as the additional cost for schooling. Because even though they say you're going to a 4-year institution, you're actually there longer because you need to make up for those 2 years that you took general education courses. On top of that, the average student will stay in college for 5 to 6 years, not 4 years. Because then after that, you need to worry about clinicals or you need to worry about internships that are required for a degree that you might be going into. Okay. U.S. News also reported that an in-state university tuition, so this is in-state Minnesota, for a 4-year university will be $9,716 a year. So that equals out to be $38,000 a year, which is huge. But if you go to a private 4-year institution, that equals out to be $142,000 by the end of your career. Your college career, that is astronomical. So just with that, I want to tell you why I chose to go to a vocational school. One, the class sizes are so much smaller. So when I was going to Edinburgh, I would sit in a lecture hall with 150 other students. You don't get that connection with the other students and your professor. Like, there's so many distractions, okay? So the average class size, is 33 students per class. Not only that, but the vocational school, it only focuses on the trade that you're studying. So you don't need to worry about general education courses unless it pertains to your degree. Like, for instance, I needed to take statistics, and I needed to take 3 different anatomy courses, but that is needed for my degree. I don't need to worry about taking all these Englishes and all these other classes that aren't necessary. On top of that, it's less time to complete. So I can have my degree in 2 years. So I'll be actually finishing school with 3 degrees in a matter of 3 years, which is fantastic. And that's only because some of the classes are split up. So on top of that, the cost for a 2-year vocational school is $7,000 a year. So that equals up to $14,000, and that is by tradeschool.net. So they said that $14,000 total for 2 years. And you don't need to worry about extra time there because they draw in clinicals for you or any other internships that you might need. They will actually schedule that in your schedule, so you don't need to worry about that. Okay. All right. Also, the National Center of Education Statistics has figured a median salary for those who go to a tech school to be $35,000 a year. But this is heavily dependent on what career path you choose. So, and the experience, I guess. So, if you're going to nursing, I'll be starting off at $29 an hour. That is way over $40,000 a year, right? So it all depends on what you major in and how long it takes for you to go to school. Because what is this? 1 second. Trantham of the Simple Dollar says that by the end of my career, for those of you who are still in school for a 4-year degree, I will have already earned an additional $71,000. And just think about that for a second, because that $71,000, I could have already paid off my student loans. I could have all of that I could have had all that done. But not only that, but you guys have to worry about paying interest back on all of that. So that price that I gave you from the Educational Statistics Department, that is before scholarships and grants. Okay, so but I mean, if you end up getting scholarships and grants, that's so important. You guys need to apply for those because those are super beneficial. Don't need to pay back. Okay. All right. Okay, can you stand up, please? Okay. All right. So and then on top of that, so the job placement. So right now, baby boomers are retiring. Okay. So so Forbes actually did an article and they said that 15.5% of the demographic who go to a vocational school and have their degree in that, 15.5 of those are retiring this year because it is between the 54 and 64 demographic, excuse me. So that means that you will have job security and job placement. And on top of that, a vocational school will find you job placement. So you don't need to worry about it. I have friends who I went to to the university with, and they have their 4-year degree and then some, and they still don't have jobs. They still can't find work. So some of them are bartenders or waiters or just working multiple jobs just trying to get by. Whereas it is almost like a 90% success rate of finding job placement after graduation. So in conclusion, I've given you facts, statistics, personal information that I have. So just know that no matter what you decide to do, because it is a huge decision, trying to figure out what you're going to do after graduation, don't feel pressured. And I will tell you that when I graduated, I felt a lot of pressure to like hurry up and go to school, get a degree, and start a career. And it doesn't need to be like that. So yes, college is great, it's fantastic, and whatever, but don't feel rushed or pressured into it. Because the more time that you spend trying to figure out what you want to do with your life, the longer you're going to be in school taking all these classes that don't mean anything for your degree at all. So, is there any questions? No? All right, well, thank you guys. Last speech. We're done.